Hello, this is Lisa in Imagination Sisterhood Studio, and today's project is making a tag journal using an accordion spine. And the advantage to an accordion spine to me is that it's a no-sew journal, so it makes it it can be fiddly, but for the most part, if you don't want to sew, this is the way to go. So I'm going to talk all about how to prepare your tags. I'm going to talk about how to prepare your spine, and then I will put some of my pages together while we are together, giving you a couple of tips and hints along the way that I have learned. Alrighty, so let's talk about tags first. These tags are by Dasy Avenue. They are her vintage tall pocket tags. They are beautiful. So I was immediately inspired to do a tag journal out of these. I love tag journals to begin with, but these jumbo tags are super fun to make a tag journal out of. All right. Point number one. Point number one is when you go to print your tags, you may not notice just looking at it straight on once it's printed that your tags may not be the same size. All right, so you can see this one is significantly narrower and even not as tall as this tag. All right, so once you've printed your tags, you're going to choose whichever ones you want to use. You may not, some of them, like I used all the, this particular collection has a lot of portraiture. So I didn't want to go into the butterflies. There's a couple of specimen ones. I didn't want to use those. I wanted to use all the portraiture ones. So the first thing I did was select the pages with the cards that I wanted. The next thing, I took the largest card, which this one is 3 7/8, and decided that was going to be the size that I wanted. And then I went back and measured to see how many of the cards were that size. So at least I know I have all the width are the same. When I measured this one is only 3 3/4. So as we saw, it's smaller. You can still use this card. You just need to make sure that you cut it the size of the bigger one. So the way I did that was I took the big card, I cut it off, put the big card on top of the little card and cut it that wide, okay? And that way I got this extra piece on the sides, but it makes my card the right width. And then on that part, this blank part, because I didn't want that blank piece, I just used a little bit of washi tape. So this is a skinnier tag. And there's the washi tape that I used to take up the difference, okay? And you can do that either on the sides or on the bottom, wherever your tags, if they're not the same, just make sure you cut them all the same width, and then you can decorate as you need to on the side to cover up that extra little bit that's not printed on, okay? I hope that's clear. All right, so we've got our tags. You're cutting all your tags the same height and width on the paper, and you're making up for the difference with decorative whatever. All right, so we're done that. What's our next thing that I want to talk about? Tags. We've got them all the same size, so I think that's good. Let's now move on to our accordion fold spine. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Put something behind there because you can't really see it black on black. There we go. Okay, so this is what the accordion spine looks like. You are going to need to have 1 inch per tag. So if you have 10 tags, you need a paper that is at least 10 inches long. Okay, I think I have 10 tags in this, and I always do an extra. So if I've got 10 tags, I always do a 12-inch piece. A 12-inch piece. And then when I'm done, I cut off the extra piece. I just, for whatever reason, I don't ever cut it the length that I need it. I always cut a little extra. All right. All right, so we've talked about how wide you need the paper. Let's talk about how tall you need your spine paper so that you have all the measurements that you need to cut your spine and be ready to make this. When I'm using a tag journal, so it has the shape of a tag, you got your angles, your spine needs to be below the angle. So this would be at the same height of the angle. This would be equal to the angle. I make mine just a little bit below the cutoff of the angle. And it doesn't have to go, I usually make mine not all the way to the bottom. I don't know why, that's just the way I do it. But it can go to the bottom, so that's fine. But it can't go all the way up to the top of your tag. It can only go to the height of that bend right there. All right, so for me, let's just measure it. From here, I always feel like it's so hard to see on the camera. From here, that's where the bend is, to here is, mine would, 6 inches would be fine. All right, so 6 inches is going to take me a little under my bend, and I can put it to the bottom if I want to. All right, so whatever size your tags are, you need to make the accordion piece 1 inch wide per page, and then the height of it is from the bend to the bottom. Okay, so go ahead and cut your piece for your accordion spine, and we'll move on from there. You now have your piece of paper that is ready for your spine. From here, you are going to mark it every ½ inch for the full width of your paper. You can do that using a paper and pencil and a ruler, or you can do it using a scoreboard. Again, every ½ inch needs a mark on top and bottom, and then we will fan fold it. If you do choose to use a scoreboard, I would recommend not doing any more than 3 at a time, and then remove the paper and do just 3 at a time. For some reason, that seems to be more accurate than just laying it on the page and doing ½ inch, ½ inch. For some reason, when I do it that way, I've got some going this way and some going this way. But if I only do 1 or 2 lines on the scoreboard at a time and then move my paper and start over again, for some reason, that seems to make my lines and my spacing more accurate. Okay, so your paper is going to end up looking like this, scored, and the next thing you're going to do is fan fold it. Now, as you fan fold, even though you've scored it, like I said, sometimes it might get a little wonky. So as you fold, each time you fold, you're going to want to check a little bit and just make sure, am I staying, like this one was not lined up, okay? So am I staying lined up once I'm folded? And you want that to be the same as much as you can. All right, and this is where this is a little fiddly, and I will admit it. This part's a little bit fiddly. I am using a medium weight. It's not a cardstock. You can use cardstock. It's a little harder to work with. I used a lightweight cardstock, or it's called a cover stock also. All right, so as you keep folding, you just want to keep making sure that you're going straight and that your folds all are on top of each other. I don't know if you can see, but right there, this fold is not lining up, so I've got a gap of about almost an 1/8 of an inch or so. So I need to go back in and kind of fold that one over a little bit different so that I catch that little extra bit. And like I say, even though I used a scoreboard, it just doesn't always work out right. It's very frustrating for me. But anyway, it's just, you can't be good at everything, right? You gotta be goofy at some things, and I'm goofy at scoreboards. All right, so that's a little better. So just continue to fold, and that's another reason I use something a little lighter, because it's easier to make up for the errors once you, if it's not lining up correctly. So you're gonna continue to fold your whole page. If you want to do something longer than 12 inches. So if you're doing 20 pages, you're going to need 40 inches, okay? Because it's a page per inch. You are going to have to add 2 together, unless you have 40-inch paper, okay? So you're just going to glue one piece to the other where this accordion goes, all right? So you'll do 2 of these, glue them together, and that will give you the length that you need. For this project, I am only doing, I think I have 10 pages. So that's all I'm doing. And to me, I don't like making them bigger than that. They get kind of, it gets hard. For me, it's hard to manage. All right. So let's move on. I have gotten everything ready so that all I'm really ready to do is describe and assemble. I'm going to put this back in here. All right. I don't usually do this, but in this particular case, I went ahead and decorated all of my pages. So these are all already, they've already got pockets, they've already got paper glued on the back. All right, so each of my pages I've decorated them, I've done projects in them. If you look, you'll find other projects that I've done for this on the page. Okay, so you can find other projects on this channel. But I don't usually do that, but because once it's assembled, it's kind of hard to work. To me, it's hard to work in. So I just wanted to decorate my tags first and then add them into the book. I've also numbered my pages so that I know what order I want them in. All right, and for me, I'm doing all the pictures on the front and the stuff on the back. That's how I did each one of mine. You can do whatever you want. One last tip. If you want to do a, where's my fold out? If you want to do a fold out, it is far easier to put your fold out on the, what is going to be the open side of, not in the spine. So put the fold out on the non-spine side. So this is going to go in my spine, and I made my fold out go this way. Okay. And you'll see why that makes a difference later. I actually had this glued on the other side. I had to take it off and remount it on this side. So that's the only other tip I'm going to say is if you're going to put flip-flaps on, put them on the non-spine side. Alrighty, I think that's all the tips. So let's get down to construction. This is so easy, you're not going to believe it. All right, so you're going to take your accordion spine, and I'm going to describe this as peaks and valleys. Okay, so these are the mountains or the peaks. These are the valleys, the ups and the downs. And you're going to make it so that the last peak is the open one. Okay, so here's a peak. This last peak is the open one. All right, and that actually you are going to attach your cover to. And my covers are all ready. I have them all set. So this is my cover piece that I'm going to use. This is going to be different. The cover is going to be different than any other page in this. It's only the way I'm doing it. You don't have to do it this way. And I'll go into more later. I wanted my cover to be firmer than this cover stock, this lighter. So I am gluing in the middle a piece of regular cardboard just to give it a little more body. I also decided that I want the closure to be a tie closure. So I have attached my ties to this cardboard before I even begin, and that way I always forget. I glue my pieces together and then I forget, oh, I wanted a tie in there. So this time I have taken the time to attach my ties where I want them before I do anything, so I can't forget and I can't get confused, and they're exactly where I want them to be. All right. Okay, so the cover is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to attach the cover to the cardboard. This is only if you want to use cardboard, if you want to make your cover double thick. So I'm going to go ahead, attach my cover to my cardboard cover. And everything of mine has been inked. All these pages are all prepped. So this is assuming that you have prepped everything. Okay. Attaching the back side of this is what's going to be different. Let's see, let me use a marker so we're just really clear. This is the spine side. When I flip it over, this is the spine side. This side, no glue. Okay, so I have to remember no glue when I go to do that. All right, so I'm gonna Oops, I got tape in there. I'm gluing all around the edges. Gluing in the middle. No glue here. And you want to get that lined up, obviously as straight as you can. Okay, this side is glued, this side is open. Okay, that's really important. All right, now we've cut our accordion spine to be less than, to come in below the angle, and I like mine not to go to the bottom. It's just my thing. You can cut it all the way to the height of the full height, but you can't go past the angle. All right, so we've got our spine cut the right size, and I'm going to slip something in here so it's all ready for me to glue. We're going to put a little bit of glue on our single open one. We're going to glue both sides. Glue on one side and glue on the other side. I'm going to glue both sides of this. And this is going to slide in here. And now you want to make sure that this black is right up to the edge of your tag. And then we're going to push that down. And now we're ready to create our book. That's the front cover, all done. And that is the fiddliest part. All the other pages, we are only going to glue one side. And it's going to get glued to this side. Okay, so you're going to go to the next mountain, and we're going to put glue on the mountain. And you want to glue right up to that peak of the mountain. You do not want glue down in the valley, all right? So avoid the valley, glue the peak. We're going to lay this tag on top of, is this number 2? Where's number 2? Here's number 2. This right on top of the first tag, line it up exactly where you want it. And I would recommend, I'm using Fabri-Tac. You're going to want to use a non-white glue because especially like art glitter glue sticks immediately. So you want to be able to play with this a little bit. You want a little mobility here because if you don't get it lined up right, you have the ability to move it around. And we're just going to glue that on. And there we go. There is our first page. It's all lined up. We've got our spine is nice and tight on our second card. And now we just keep going, okay? Oh, we got them out of order. That's okay. We'll use this one next. Gotta get this out of the way. So we're just going to keep putting glue on the mountain. Glue on the mountain. Glue on the mountain, shoe fly shoe. Glue on the mountain, shoe fly shoe. Not in the valley. No glue in the valley. Shove it in there. Line it up, top, bottom, sides, peaks, everything. Get it all exactly lined up. Fold that flap over. Check the back to make sure you've got it in place. And glue the next one. See how easy this is? Super easy. That's why I wanted to have all my pages done first. I just felt like it was easier. Because these can be a little tight to work on sometimes. That came unglued. I got to go back in and line everything up. Now, as you notice, you will lose a little bit on each one of your pages because your spine is going to glue to the page. So if you don't want black, maybe you want beige, maybe you want, you know, a printed paper that has a vintage background or whatever. That's totally up to you. I used black because I liked the black with this, where this one's going, with the photography vintagey theme of this. So I went black, and it will show, the spine will show, or you can cover it when it's all done. But if you don't cover it, you're going to have a black spine, which I also didn't mind with this vintage photo look. Okay, we're just going to keep gluing. So you glue, I'll come back when we're ready for the back cover. All right, we have come to the end here. This is my last page. And as you can see, I told you, I like to have extra. So this is extra. I'm now ready to put my back cover on, and the back cover goes together exactly the same way as the front cover. And I am just going to, here's my mountain, here's my valley. I need to cut off at the next peak. If you cut the right amount, then you don't have to do this. I did not cut the right amount. I always like extra. I don't know why I like extra. I just do. All right. So as you can see, I have a flap. I have an individual flap. Here's my back cover. The back cover goes together the same exact way the front cover goes together. All right. So we are going to first glue the back cover to the cardboard. Again, my ribbons are all in place. My, no, I inked the one side, didn't ink the other side. Let me do that real quick. I thought I had inked all of this, but apparently not. And I wanted this all inked because it's thick enough I don't want to see it in between the layers. And I also don't want, you know, if I didn't cut it exactly the right size, I want this inked first. Always looks better if it's inked first. So, now if you don't want to put this extra, let's do that first. If you don't want to put this extra piece of cardboard in, which you don't have to, okay? You can just use your regular tag. You are just going to glue this tag on just like you would every other tag, okay? So if you don't want to make the harder cover, if you don't want to do the whole double-sided thing, you don't have to. Instead, your cover goes on this last peak, just like all the other pages. it will show, all right? I didn't want mine to show, and that's why I'm doing it inside, so it doesn't cover up my cover art. All right, so we have our, gotta make sure I get this the right way. Ties go out. That's the other reason I did it, to make sure I got it all right. This goes this way, so first I am gonna glue this to this. Somebody in my neighborhood is vacuuming their car. I can hear that noise. The sounds of summer, right? Vacuuming and lawnmowers and leaf blowers and weed eaters. All right. And then when it gets real hot, I have a window air conditioner, so that makes a lot of noise. All right. So let's glue this on. Line it up. Now we are ready to do this last piece. And we are all, this is the spine side, no glue on the spine side. I'm telling you that because I need to remind myself just as much as I need to remind everybody else, because I tend to get it wrong. Alrighty. I don't know why I put washi tape on there, but I did. Oh, maybe my, you know what? Maybe my, maybe that tag that I'm using for the back cover. Oh, see, I did it. I'm talking and I did it anyway. Tag on it. Thank heavens it's this glue. I can wipe it off pretty easily. See, get talking, even though I said it, made the comment, reminded myself, reminded you. What happened? I stuck it in anyway. All right, for my back page, I made a big envelope. So that's going on my back page. And that is going to have to be trimmed, as you can see. But I'm going to do that after it's all glued together. And that's got to go over this way. Which is why I did this. I'm going to have to do something different. I'm going to have to do something different here, because I made another mistake. Okay, so this is not this wide. I may open this up a little bit and put a little washi tape in there. So that's why the washi tape was on there. All right, so this is all ready, but this hopefully is still open. If it isn't, I got to open it up quick. Yep, there we go. All right, and I'm going to put my ruler in there just to keep it from gluing to itself, since I made the mistake and put glue in there. All right, and just like we did on the front, I've got volcano glue going on here. We're going to put glue on both. This is the only time we do this, on both the front and the back of this flappy piece. All right, both the front and the back. That's the back. Not down in the valley. No glue in the valley. Only on the edges. Okay. And then just like we did on the front, we're going to slide this in. And line it up. Make sure it's all lined up. Make sure it's tucked in there tight, because we fiddled with it a little bit. And then go ahead and push that down. And there's your spine. Pretty cool, huh? All right, now, from here, you can leave this way. It doesn't matter. I'm putting ties in the front. But I am going to take something. It can be washi tape. It can be, I might use another piece of ribbon. Let me see what I've got right here, just so we can show, for example, here. If I want this to stay tight like a book, then I can just glue a little something here and here. You can just do two pieces, one at the top one at the bottom, and that will hold it together like a book. You can take a longer piece and wrap the whole spine, just like you would, you know, any book. If you wanted covered spine, you can do that. Whatever you do, it'll just cover that up, and you glue it here, you glue the back, and then hold it on, and that will hold the back together. Okay. And I have some really cool, which I think I'm gonna. I have some really cool cloth. What's his name? Tim Holtz. This is Tim Holtz tape, and I think I might just go ahead and use this to hold my spine together. I just have to decide which color I want. Ooh, kind of like that one. Is that going to be big enough? Yes. All right, let's cut a piece of that. Yeah, this is perfect for this. And let me find another piece of that. This is like a cloth washi tape. I've never had the opportunity to use it, so I'm kind of happy about that. All right, let's line this up so I make sure I'm getting it in the same spot. Not sure I want it quite this long, so I may trim it on the back side. Okay, I'm going to hold this down the way I want it, and I think I want this hingy piece maybe up here. I don't know, looks good to me. And I'll tear this off. I'm going to hold my cover down tight, all my pages tight, and then I will cut it off. Okay, and let's do our next hinge. That one's almost long enough to do two of them. And we'll do that the same. You might want 3. It's up to you. It's up to you if you want 2 hinges, 3 hinges. If you want to cover the whole thing, you can cover the whole thing. I think I'm going to put this about here. I'm not being too fussy about it. I do want it tight. And wrap that around. This is perfect for this, by the way. If you have this tape and you haven't used it yet, this is the perfect job for it. And there we go. So now it stays tight like a book. And I think I might even put another piece here in the middle. All right. So let's see what it looks like. Let's see how it worked. And then I can take my page stickers off. And there you go. That's how your book works. As you can see, you do have that black piece, so if you don't want black, use a pretty paper. Use whatever you want, because it really doesn't matter. Also, you want to go through and do this once you do it to make sure your glue, like right there, I've got a little glue hanging over, so make sure your pages aren't being glued together. This page was a little fiddly, but my flap worked fine. This did not glue, so that's perfect. Little glue up there. That one, oh, see, we got a little glue in there. So just go in. That's another reason it's nice to have the Fabri-Tac, because you can rub that out of there where a white glue will stick. And these you're going to have to go back in, since I made them folding pages. I should have done this the other way, and I did not. So I should have made them open the other direction. And then I've got my envelope. And I'll trim that off. and I'll fix that up later. The only thing left to do, which I will leave, I won't spend time doing that now, but now you've got your holes to punch, so you can punch a hole in each one of your tags and add a beautiful ribbon to it, and then that'll make that all nice and fussy out the top, which I love that, but you can leave it with no tags too, no ribbons if you want. So there you go. There is your jumbo tag journal with an accordion no-sew spine. I hope you enjoyed this project, and thanks for crafting with me. This is Lisa in Imagination Sisterhood Studio.